Okay. So I got your sour cream and onion chips. Here you go. Um, it's really, it's, I've been thinking how it's been really awkward how you've just said nothing to me this whole time, and now that's okay, it's okay, of course. But, it's just I was thinking, maybe you could say something. Because you're so quiet, you don't say anything. So I was wondering if you said something, it would help break the silence just a bit. Because I got you the chips. And I was thinking it would be a nice thing maybe if you could, respond to me. And so, like, he's not responding to me. He's saying nothing, and it's getting under my skin. I keep talking, but they don't say anything. It's kind of rude. I got them the sour cream and onion chips, and I feel like maybe I deserve, some sort of. So it's like, I get everyone has problems, you have problems, I have problems. We've all got problems. Are you okay? Are you okay? Do you need help? I got you the sour cream and onion chips. Is there things going on? Because like I can help. I mean, I might not be able to help, but I'm offering my help. I'm offering my help in case, you're open to accepting my help, which you may not be open to accepting my help. And yeah, he just never, he doesn't open up. That's his problem though. We all have problems, and then their personal problem is that they don't open up to other people. That's their personal problem. You get what I mean though, right? Because everyone has their own things, and everyone needs to go at their own rate. And but it's like, sometimes people just aren't going at enough of a rate. So, I don't even know what to say, because you don't say anything to me. It's hard for me to figure out, what I should be saying right now, because I know I should say words, but you're not saying any words back. And so I know if you want to help with this problem, it would be really helpful, to help me help you, Yeah, and I don't know, because it's difficult being in the situation, and because no one wants to be in a situation. People usually want to like be. Sometimes you do want to go into a situation. Sometimes you don't want to be in a situation. It all depends. There's context. There's context around everything, and I get context, but sometimes you need to just help other people. The context of their lives, just tell them, so you understand what I'm saying. Is it something I did? Did I do something? Did I do something? Am I doing something now? Because because I could stop now, and yeah, it's, yeah, it's, and you see the other person, over there, and you see no one else seems to be helping me, with this. Because I know there's someone else that's saying, but I'm not feeling good, about all this, and I could really use that support of, just when it comes to talking with the other, So yeah, and it was wrong for me to, push you, and I don't want to push you anymore, because I understand that being pushy. It kind of gets, because, and all these people out here, and then they just, say nothing, and then what happens? You just continue saying nothing, you take a vow of silence, and then, you know, and nothing gets better. You know how people say that when they talk, they feel a lot better talking about their problems. And, you know, I just feel like, you know, if there's a problem, because usually people without problems don't not say so much in such, you know, a long amount of time, you know? Like, you know, it would be helpful if you could communicate, you know, just it's communication. Communication, we as, you know, people evolve to communicate with one another as like, you know, a method of survival. And like, you know, teaching other people, and teaching involves telling other people things that they don't know. And I was wondering if you knew what was up with you, and you could teach me, you know, as the basis of survival of people. You understand? And yeah, they just, you know, I know it's just still on my mind. It keeps bugging me. And, you know, I don't know where to go, you know, with all this, because I keep thinking about it, but I don't know what to do with all these thoughts. These thoughts just they kind of happen, and they kind of just stick in my mind, and it doesn't go anywhere. It just sort of sticks in my mind, and it doesn't go away. And you know, I think it would all go away if, you know, if the person was just better. You know, I mean, not better as in if they were a better person, but if they just, you know, if they tried better, maybe, if they got better, it's hard to say, but I feel like people could be better. And yeah, and yeah, and yeah. So you like sour cream and onion chips? I think unless I was just, you know, a way of getting me out of your hair, because I get it, you know, I get it. I can be overbearing and annoying. I get it. But, you know, like, I mean, but then you must have like picked sour cream and onion, you know, for even if you don't entirely like it, there must be something like, you know, you at least want to convince other people. You know, is there a motive here? Now, I might be just assuming that there's a motive here, which, you know what they say about assumptions. You know what rhymes with assumption? Consumption, like when you eat chips. Maybe life is like chips, where you eat a bunch of chips, and then it's like greasy, and, you know, it doesn't help. You know, you just kind of eat the chips, and sometimes you want to throw up afterwards. But, you know, I'm not saying that maybe my life is like that. But, you know, I'm not saying, you know, but like, you know, well, you know, it's hard sometimes, because you want to keep, you know, grabbing, and then your hands get salty, and, you know, you get what I mean. Yeah, and it's just, you know, I work, you know, I'm working on myself. Just, you know, just like everyone, I'm working on myself, and I think others maybe, like, you know, they could extend, you know, that sort of like if I can work on myself, then other people can work on themselves. And, you know, I'm not saying it's unfair, because I know everyone's like, you know, in a different thing, but sometimes it's just, you know, frustrating when, you know, when there's a person, and then, like, you know, they don't, you know, it's about communication. It's always about communication. It's about, you know, understanding. The sort of, you know, communication. I don't know. It's, some people just don't like you. You know, some people, you talk to them, you try and confide in them, and they just hate you. You know, they hate your guts, and you can tell. They don't say anything, but, you know, you can sense it, you know, in their eyes. I mean, they might not necessarily hate you, but it's not like they necessarily like you, you know? It's like they sort of, there's that feeling where they sort of don't like you when you look at them, and but they might not look at you. It depends. It's contextual. It's all situational. So, you know, I don't want to be on this, like, you know, weird, this wrong footing, you know? there's this weird wrong footing between us, and like I mean, no offense, but sometimes you get like a little pushy in your with how you feel. Now I don't mean this offensively, but sometimes you are a little pushy, you know. And I feel like maybe if you extended, a bit more kindness towards people, if you sort of treated people, like just accepted when people are wrong, that maybe, again, I'm not trying to say anything about you. I don't know. It's a whole thing. It's really hard to, because I don't want to judge people who are, in bad. I don't want to, because I don't want to judge people. Yeah, it's just hard, I don't know what people want from me. That's the thing. I don't know what people want from me. Like, what do you want from me? Like, I don't get what that other person wants from me. It's complicated because people have things. There's things in people. But yeah, you're a smart person because you get what I'm saying. I can speak freely around you because you're a good person. You're a good person. But it's not like the other person isn't a good person. But it's hard sometimes to speak around that other person because that other person, like I think they just have things going on, and it makes it hard for them to accept that. It makes it hard for me. It's just a difficult situation because sometimes there's just difficulty between people, and what are you gonna do? Sometimes it's just difficult between people. I understand, if maybe after that, maybe I've went too far, maybe I've gone too far, I've said too much, and maybe you just don't wanna hear it anymore. Maybe it's all too much, and there's nowhere to go from here. We're at an impassable. There's nowhere to, like an unstoppable force, and then an immovable force, and then the two forces, like it just they force against each other, and then there's nowhere to go. So I think if one of us lets down and let's down, the other force can then make their point known, and then we could get somewhere. But one of us has to one of us has to stop forcing any moment now. Yeah, I don't know. I've always had problems. I've had to work on these problems talking to people because talking to people is difficult. It's hard, because I don't think in the same way that other people think, clearly, because I think that we all think in different ways. We all have, it's like that one person told me, someone I look up to, they said that I think on a different wavelength. And then because there's that different wavelength, I'm sure, I don't match up with people, and sometimes that means, I don't really, think in the same way, so people don't think as me. And, I think if other people, can just take a moment to think about how people don't think it the same way that other people think, then maybe we could, all start accepting how other people think, and then we all could, think of a way to start thinking together. It's like one ear out the other. And I have said it before. I talk, I keep talking, and I get that it's hard because, it takes a lot of energy to process words. And if you're processing a lot of words over a long amount of time, it's difficult because, your word processing is complicated. You know how hard it is to make artificial intelligence, contextually understand words and stuff. How is it for the human brain? The human brain isn't a computer. the human brain's flesh. We're all fleshy, and so when it comes to like the fleshiness, like taking these words in, the fleshiness, and has to figure out, oh, what do these words mean? And it's difficult, right? It's difficult. It's difficult for our brains to figure out what words are and what words mean to communicate with other people. And I'm sorry that it's difficult, for everyone. It's difficult for everyone. But I mean, that's not to say it isn't difficult for you. I don't mean to make your problems seem any less. I don't mean to put down the difficulties you're having. It's more the fact that because there's all that difficulty, the difficulty kind of weighs down. It presses down on you, and it makes everything really hard for everyone. And I feel like maybe it's hard to relieve the stress. You kind of have to just you have to learn how to live with the stress, live with the things that aren't going well. And yeah, some people say that that I talk too much about, I'm always mean something else when I say something. The meanings of what I say sometimes get, a bit askew. Then maybe that I'm not necessarily I'm not saying what I really mean. That maybe I'm saying something else with the words, and it's just people need to hear the words that I'm saying. They need to start understanding the words that I am saying, because I feel like people maybe aren't listening. People aren't hearing exactly what I'm trying to put down. That maybe the exact words that I'm not the exact words, but it's like the meaning behind the words, the way that I put the words together. There's the sort of meaning behind it. There's a sort of force. There's a reason for it, and yeah, I feel like that maybe we also have a problem going on. Maybe there's something between us as well. Maybe we could sort out what's happening between us, because I don't want there to be a thing between us. And if this thing is gonna, if this thing is gonna be a thing, I don't want it to be a thing. You feel me? That's something people say, feel. How do you feel someone? It's hard, because we as people we all feel. We feel stuff, but it's like, how does it feel for other people to feel? Because we know, or at least we think we know how it is to feel for ourselves, but how does it feel for other people to, what does it mean to feel? I sometimes I get a bit lost in my train of thought. Sometimes I get a bit lost, and I kind of go around. Sometimes I go on a loop, and I don't really get anywhere. It's appreciative when there's people that can deal with it, because I've had people who just kind of talk, and they talk around in sort of like a circle, and they don't get anywhere, and they don't mean anything. But I'm glad that there's people that can hear when you talk around in a circle, even if we're not getting anywhere. I appreciate that you're still here. I appreciate that you're okay with still having me around, because I'm sure. I mean, I've said it before. I keep saying it. I push your buttons, and it's probably not the best. It's probably difficult. It's probably not the best. But you're still here, and I appreciate that sort of presence. I appreciate that you can still put up. You understand what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying. You understand the words I'm using. I just I want to be understood, but it's hard, because sometimes I feel like when I look back that maybe I said stuff the wrong way, and that there was no way of understanding me. But then I just go back to being wanting to be wanting to be understood, right? And you know, it's 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 like a paradox, an oxymoron, maybe. No, there's just that conflict. There's always a conflict. There's always things that aren't right, and those lead into other things that aren't right. And I'm still trying to figure everything out. And I'm still trying to figure everything out. You know, because why no one wants to be a bad person. I mean, most people don't want to be a bad person, and I don't want to be a bad person. I don't think you want to be a bad person. I don't think my coworker at the car wash. I don't think they want to be a bad person. I don't think my mom wants to be a bad person. I don't think your mom might be a bad person. Yeah, and it's thank you again for taking the time, because I know you have time, and people like using time effectively. There's ways of using time, and sometimes it's sometimes, because pun not intended, pun not intended, but of time, and it's I don't want to get too deep into that, because thinking about too deeply into the time stuff really gets to me. It makes it hard to sleep, and I prefer to avoid that subject. Let's not talk about it. Talking about it really, the confronting of mortality. I've did that before. I've done the whole mortality confrontation thing plenty of times. Yeah, I still do. I don't think it's something that we should delve into now, or I'm not gonna stop thinking about it. And yeah, it's we're treated unfairly sometimes. I think the way that maybe it's the way that like society is. I mean, I don't mean to say society. I don't mean like haha this, but you get what I mean. Like using the word. And it's because society can be like a big word that people use, to try and sound like they mean a lot. But I'm, what I'm trying to say is I'm actually trying to say that like if the way that society is built, and like not the way society's built, but how it is right now, can really affect people, and it can affect I think the way that it's set up. That can affect people in bad ways. We have a lot of stuff though. I don't want to be like, oh, society's bad. We should undo society. We should revert it back. I'm not necessarily saying that. There's good in society, but there's also like bad in society, and it's doing bad things to like the minds of people. And maybe there's some ways where like people aren't getting the help they need, but there's ways where people are getting the help they need. We also have to be mindful that those exist even when there's all those bad parts, because if we keep thinking about the bad parts, then we'll just we'll keep thinking about bad, and isn't it bad to like constantly think about the bad parts of things? If you constantly have bad thoughts, like not those kinds of bad thoughts, of course, but I mean thoughts that like that are unhealthy for the mind. And if you keep thinking about them, then it's gonna really like drag you down. I mean, not drag you down just like, ooh, I feel glum, but like over a course of an amount of time, like a longer amount of time, it's gonna just sort of grind you down like as a person. It's gonna make you feel not great. And I think there's a lot of people that aren't feeling really great. And I think it just has to do with like that again, that thing, that sort of air of things being wrong. But I don't want to be the kind of person that's like, oh, there's a lot of things wrong. I don't want to be that kind of person. But you have to acknowledge it. If you don't acknowledge it, then you're gonna let it win. Well, I mean, not let it win as in if it's a thing that's trying to like win, but it's like you don't want it to like you overtake, your mind. Not again, not like, not like hypnosis, but just the negative thoughts. If you let the negative thoughts win, then you'll be a negative person, and you'll have all this negative aura. And there's enough negativity, and just people need to let go of negativity. People need to stop being negative. But I mean, but at the same time, if you're not negative, then how will you ever know to make a change, huh? It's difficult. It's difficult. And I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's needed out of anyone. I don't know what's needed. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. That's just the crux of it, because I can say as much as I want, but I don't know anything. I don't know what you're going through, what's in your head, what's in your life, why I do this, why you do that, why anyone does anything. It's just, I don't want to be like, it's all chemicals and we're just like, all chemicals that are going around and doing chemical things. But, I can only know so much, and everyone only knows so much. And, sometimes other people know you better than you know yourself. So what do you as a person really know? Is knowing just a concept? Is there nothing really that, concrete to know? Okay, I think that's a bit, nihilistic. I think that's a bit too negative. But, it's around that idea. And I think sometimes I have the wrong idea about wrong ideas. If it's a bit, it's a bit recursive having the wrong idea about wrong ideas. But sometimes I feel like, I think too much about not, thinking the right way, or, it's not just doing the right thing, but like thinking about not doing the right thing. I guess, maybe there's something going on that's, making me feel like I don't know. It's difficult to word, but also at the same time, I get too caught up trying to word it. I get too caught up trying to communicate what all of this is. All of this in my head, all of this as a culmination of a person, the culmination of just living as a person and communicating. I'm doing too much, and I'm doing too much thinking, and I need to stop. I wish I could stop thinking as much, because if I stopped thinking as much, I'd probably be happier, because I wouldn't be caught up trying to solve everything that's insolvable. If I treat everything like it's a thing that can be solvable, I'm going to keep trying and solve it, And I think, well, I shouldn't say I think. I should just say, I don't think. I should stop thinking. It would be simpler. It would be simpler if I just stopped worrying about everything. And I wish I could. I wish I could just stop worrying about everything. I just want to stop thinking about all this. And, I feel that when I say other people, or I don't say to other people, but I think when other people have problems, how good it would be if they were able to just push it back and ignore it all. If they didn't let them affect them. And I'm realizing I can't do that for myself. I can't give myself that, same fair treatment. Because whenever I get caught up in thinking like this, my thoughts they just keep going. They keep going around and around. They go around circles, and I can't give myself, what I think others, what could be so easy for others, and I can't do that for myself. So I hope you enjoy your sour cream and onion chips. You know, ignoring all those metaphors before about, life or whatever, because really nothing I've said matters, or it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't be something that bothers you. It shouldn't be something that bothers me. It is gonna bother me, and I'm gonna keep thinking about all this, and I'm gonna keep thinking about it, and I'm just gonna keep thinking about all of it, and I'm just gonna keep thinking about all of it, and I'm just gonna keep thinking about all of it, and I'm just gonna keep thinking about all of it. And I just want there to be a good ending, I guess. I want there to be, there's not going to be an ending until I'm dead, because, once that happens, there's nothing. But until then, I think thinking about there being an ending is the wrong way to approach it, because you're just always going to kind of live while you're alive. And you should just be, it's the journey, not the destination. Because, the destination, probably like literally nothing. But the journey, that's the thing we're experiencing, And so if I focus on where I'm going, but not on, to where I'm going, but focus on how I'm getting there, where I am now. Everything around me, everyone around me, and, maybe just maybe it doesn't matter how it's all going to end, it doesn't matter where it's all headed. It just matters where we are now. And I think I want now to be a bit more quiet. I think I just need to be a bit more quiet.